Okay. Next, we're going to add the curve object that our track pieces will attach to and our train will follow. Let's go ahead and switch to layout since we don't really need to see the material nodes too much. And we can stay in solid view and we should be able to see pretty clearly what we're doing. So let's hit Shift A, go to curve and curve circle. And it's probably hiding underneath our landscape. So if we hit G to grab Z, pull it up. And we're just going to scale this out quite a bit. Let's go ahead and hit 7 on the number pad to look from the top. And I'm just going to center this a little bit and scale it so it's roughly the size of where my track will be. Now let's switch to edit mode. Let's hit A to make sure everything is selected. Right click and subdivide one time. Well, we can do it down here. Let's do 2. I'm going to go for 3. And if you see that you need more points, you can subdivide it again later. So now that I have these points from the top, I'm going to start lining them up. Now, it's important that I'm looking at it from top view, which you can see here. You don't want to be doing this from an angle because it's not going to line up correctly. So once again, hit 7 on the number pad. Make sure you're in top orthographic view. And I will say it doesn't matter that it's floating above the track. We're going to fix that in a little bit. So with the curve object, and I don't think I've explained this, or if I have, I haven't talked about it a lot. Curve objects are different than mesh objects because they don't have vertices. They have points with controlling handles. So for just a minute, watch what I'm doing. Don't do what I'm doing. So you see you have this point in the center, and you have these little points to the left and the right attached with these lines. These are called handles. So if I select the center point, I'm going to move that dot, this curve like so. And I am going to turn off proportional edit. I didn't mean for that to be on. If I select this handle and I grab that, I'm adjusting the shape of the curve. Now for our track, you probably won't need to do what I'm currently doing to change the shape of the curve. Moving the center points will probably be enough. So I'm going to hit Control Z just to clear what I've done. And all you want to do, and you can see when I don't have it selected, I don't see the handles. You're just going to select the point, grab that, and just line it up where you want the train track to go. Now, later we'll talk about if you're not happy with the exact shape of this curve, and we can talk about the handles. But for now, you just want to take each point and try to line it up so that your track is going roughly the right direction. If you notice that you don't quite have enough points to control it, you can hit A to select it all, right click and subdivide again, and that will give you some more points that you can select and adjust the shape of your train track. So just go through one at a time. Get it kind of close, and you can kind of work your way back around a second time to adjust anything that's not quite where you want it to be. So I'm just working my way along the path here on the landscape and just trying to get this to flow the way I want it to. Okay, I think I'm getting close to working my way back around to the starting point. Here we go. So if there's a place that you want to adjust this, you can select it and grab the handle and adjust it. Or if you just want to add a point between these two, you can select this point and then select this point and then subdivide, and it will subdivide just between those two, giving you this extra point that you can grab. So take a few minutes, make sure everything looks the way you want it to. And then I will talk about the next step. So I'm going to assume you've now had a chance to get the shape that you want. We're going to switch back to object mode, and we want this to line up perfectly with the landscape below it. To do that, we're going to add a modifier. We're going to add the shrink wrap modifier. And once we add that, we're going to use the eyedropper to select our landscape, and it's going to go down and connect to the landscape. You will notice that it doesn't line up correctly. The origin point of our track is way up here. So we're going to hit G to grab and Z and move that origin point down. And as we move it down, Blender better understands how we want this to line up to the surface. Now, I'm just going to get it close, because if I keep going down, eventually it will start doing some weird things. So once you kind of see that it stopped changing shape, you can place that. And then I'm going to hit 7 on the number pad and just look around to make sure there's no weird, like, funny angles or glitches, because sometimes it will do weird things. So just kind of glance over it. Make sure everything looks the way that you want it to. And let's go ahead and name this. We'll call it train path. Now, we're going to make a copy of this by hitting Shift D, Z, and just move this down so that the origin point is down below the path. And on our duplicate, we're going to remove the shrink wrap. So you should see a copy of our track. And we're doing this because the wheel driver, or the geometry nodes we set up to drive the wheel, don't work for some reason when you have a curve with the shrink wrap modifier. It sees it as a mesh and it can't find the length, and it messes everything up. So this is pretty much the same length as this. This might have a little variation if your plane is not perfectly flat where it's touching, but for the sake of what we're doing, this will work fine. So we're going to name this train path for wheel driver, and we're going to use this later. So for now, we're just going to move this to our hidden object collection, because we don't need to see it anymore. We can just access it by typing the name in. Okay, I'm going to stop this video into this segment, and then in the next video, we'll bring over the controllers and start putting them onto the track and making sure they all work correctly.